Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday Lunch with Doc Bunny, episode 7. This is February 2021. And today I already had a morning edition. And today I'm going to do an afternoon edition because both of them don't want to meet while there's COVID COVID in the air. And I understand that, but whenever we get back to normal, we'll actually do a regular lunch. So right now I'm talking to Russell Hines. He is an actor and all around traveler. He's a very well-traveled individual. And because I am starting a travel agency, I want to talk to people who have traveled. So thanks, Russell, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Nice to say hey to everybody and to you. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, no worries. Okay, so the one thing that I was really impressed with you about is that you're an actor and you spent a lot of time acting and that's how you've gotten to travel. So can you tell us how you got started with your acting where you had to travel for a part?
Well, to make it perfectly clear, yes, I am an actor. Not anyone that anybody has seen as of yet. but but the way I actually had gotten into travel is, just thinking about it now, I guess it is kind of interesting. Coming from, growing up and all, my mother had passed away when I was very, very young. So that nucleus of the family kind of, it made the whole family explode. So,
Yes.
so I ended up, since I was the last of the bunch, I ended up staying with older sisters, brothers, and everybody had moved to different locations. So Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So I think that's how the travel bug ended up in me. And
Yeah.
then from there, growing up with my cousins, who to me are amazing people and still are amazing people. They taught me instruments, how to play certain things and this and that. And watching my older cousins in their band traveling, in that regional area of Norfolk, Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlanta, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. So I always wanted to do that. And that's how the travel bug kind of got into me. And then the lady that I call my grandmother, who was really one of my older aunts, only because I grew up with her grandkids. So she said, don't call me Aunt Rosa, call me Grandma Rose like everybody else. She made me leave Norfolk and move to the West Coast.
Oh, that's a big move.
With my older sisters.
Oh, wow, that's a great big move.
So I traveled across country by myself. I actually did that distance 4 times.
Oh, wow.
I went 1 year, like in 10th grade, came back, did 11th grade on the East Coast. Then she said, now you can go. For my 12th grade, senior year in high school, I left and moved back to the West Coast.
Okay.
So I traveled the States like that, Greyhound bus a couple of times, flying a couple of times. And then right after high school, I started street dancing, busking on the street.
Okay. Like breakdancing and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
I was what you would call one of the original sects of the break dancers, the poppers and the lockers and the boogaloo.
Oh, wow, that's neat. I like that.
Uh, not like with the guys Shabadoo and Tony Brazel with the lockers. They were even before us. But anyway, so when I got into that entertainment thing, that's when the travel thing just those opportunities, just kind of came that way, where people were asked, have you ever been here? Can you go there? Can you this? Can you that? As far as going out of town. And that's pretty much how it started. pretty much how it started.
Wow.
And from there, I ended up on like a Sesame Street tour. And it was kind of like, you're going around doing arena shows. So you're playing Big Bird and Kermit the Frog and Miss.
Oh, wait a minute. So wait, so you played Kermit the Frog?
No, I didn't play Kermit. I played Cookie Monster.
No way, for real? That's so awesome.
But what I'm getting at, it was a bus and truck tour. So you toured this.
Oh.
So it's total travel. Like for 10 and a half months out of the year, you're on the road. And I did that for about 3 years.
Okay.
And then other opportunities open up, through the dance jobs and everything. So, you ended up going to Thailand and China and Japan and Germany, East and West Germany.
Yeah, I was stationed in Germany when I was in the Army. So I was stationed in Frankfurt.
Mhm.
But I wound up, one of the first things I did, I got on the train and took a ride somewhere, and then, it came back, and that's what I love about travel, just being able to go somewhere and then come back. But wow, you were Cookie Monster. That's awesome. So you must have really enjoyed being on the road that much. I mean, it's not for everybody.
No, no, it's not. It's not, because when you when you hear like of, rock and rollers now who have, grown in their later years talk about the stuff they did when they were younger, but they always connected to what they were doing to make it big. But there's a lot of people, many more people who were doing this that never made it that kind of big. But they were still traveling on the road, cruise ships, all of those kind of things, I've never worked cruise ships or anything like that, but I think, it's something, I think it's something that's in you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If you get what I mean,
Yeah.
So if you ever spend time in a foreign country, you want to get out and about, see what the place is all about, learn the language, or at least, learn some part of the language that you think you feel good using,
Yeah.
because you definitely know that you're making progress. Not everybody has that in them. Some people they don't desire that at all.
Yeah, but the one thing I've been learning about being a travel agent is that travel does make you rich. It makes you rich in experiences. You learn about different cultures, and you learn about what makes you the same with other people, because there's a lot more that makes you the same than what makes you different. But how you said that you tried to speak the languages of where your host countries. How many languages do you speak?
Well, I guess you could say I speak English and Ebonics, that's for sure. But I don't necessarily speak language. I speak bits and pieces. So I tend to, I know that I am drawn to languages, and especially the rhythm of the languages, maybe 4 or 5 languages.
Oh, wow. Well, because I know enough to know which way I'm going in any country. I know I know how to get to a train. I know how to get to a bus. I know how to do enough in any language where I know how to get around.
Like one of the main places, one of the places I spent the longest time there in my travels was Japan. So I spent about 7 years in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I went, I stayed in the people's home, the Japanese people, and the gentleman's wife, she taught me the Japanese alphabet. Like Kaki, Kuke, Ko, Sashi, Susei, Sho, all of that stuff. And then because her main thing was to show me, if you know the alphabet, you'll be able to pronounce words, even though you won't know what they mean.
Right.
Yet you'll be able to pronounce the words. And then she taught me how to tell time
Oh.
and count money.
Ah.
She said, with that, you can then go out and just go. And she said, if you get lost, you can call us and you can tell us where you are because you understand the syllables, you know, and then
Yes.
we can tell you how to get back in English. So, so I went out and got lost big time. But yeah, and then from there, you know, I guess it's like if you're living anywhere and you become very comfortable with it, getting around, you go out and you do what you do, and then you start to meet other people and learn other things like that, you know, about the culture, and then you find out that everything is not like what it is back home.
Yeah.
You know, it has a totally different viewpoint, you know, so in that process, I pretty much saw everything from a different viewpoint, you know, all the way across the board, which would left me with, once I came back here to the States, back home, and attempting to explain things to, you know, friends or people I was hanging out with. Not everybody got that, you know.
It's hard to translate that experience to even, it's the experience you have to translate, and if you haven't traveled or not really used to it, then you kind of wouldn't get it.
Yeah,
I understand that.
you know, even the smells, you know, the smells, everything is totally different, you know. So
Yeah.
you're attempting to explain that, and yeah, so it was Japan was definitely a great big huge impact on me, and I still keep a lot of that right now today, you know.
Mm.
And I guess from all of the travels, it opens you up to, you know, not all your friends are from the same place anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that I have just friends from all over. And I know people from all over. They're not just, oh, they're just from my neck of the woods. And I've had a chance to explore and meet other people. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to stay close.
Right. So, you know, not everybody look the same. Not everybody, you know, speak with the same tempo or the same dialect or accent or whatever, you know. So your whole, I guess you could say your whole
Viewpoint.
yeah, viewpoint or radius of what's common has really broad, you know, is really grown, you know, very broad, you know. So
Yeah, being traveling does that. Okay, so now I want to know about your acting thing, because that Cookie Monster thing sounds really awesome. Was the costume really heavy or was it hot?
um wow, you know, when you're young, when you're young, you know, no, I mean the costume maybe 35 pounds, everything all together. That's the feet, the helmet, the head, the what we call the Michelin pod you put on, and then you put on the actual cookie carpet. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of things that was happening in that, because I think they still have those. The companies still put on those shows. Like for instance, the process was we got hired. We went to Minneapolis, Minnesota, which we traveled again for boot camp.
You had Sesame Street Boot Camp?
Sesame Street Boot Camp, in the sense of that's what we called it, but pretty much that's what it is. And there you learn the choreography, costume fittings. You have a script that you must learn, and you also learn puppeteering.
Oh.
Because inside that costume, there is like a it kind of works like a bicycle brake
Yeah.
where you squeeze and the cable runs, but the cable runs, they would have the mechanism in your hand, in your palm, the cable would run down your arm, up your back, the back of your head, and it's connected, and that's how the mouth would work.
Oh, wow.
So in order, and so all of the audio is on soundtrack for the kids, but
Uh-huh.
you have to make it work according to
In time with it, yeah.
right. So we went through puppeteering to understand which way things would work when the characters would say words.
Oh,
Not
wow.
necessarily the same way it works when we speak. It kind of in reverse. Yeah, and wow, Sesame Street on roller skates, all kind of stuff. and actually back then when that was happening, they had a lot of shows. They had like the Muppet Show, Sesame Street, Big Bird Goes to Hollywood.
I remember those, yeah.
Muppet Babies. So all of the shows would come through, they would overlap when they come into boot camp. You spend about 6 weeks. At one point, everybody's there that works on all the shows. And then one show leaves out, the next week another show leaves out, and then we're just going all over the States and Canada, Mexico, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow. That's wow. Okay, so like if somebody decided to say, hey, I want to become an actor or actress, or I want to become a dancer, what would you say? What would you say to get them started on that road?
I would say you would definitely have to mix in with the dance studio, take dance classes, but it also depends on what studio, because now these days things are very, how can I say, they're very, intricate, this is 6 inches, then the next 3 inches, then the next 4 inches, like for myself, I am very much a street dancer. I've had maybe a month of dance class in my whole entire existence in this body.
Wow, that's some good stuff. Usually,
that doesn't cancel out what you would call, I guess, what you would call talent or raw ability.
well, I think it's more of what you desire to do. Okay,
Right.
so you're saying, okay, and if you want to be a dancer, it doesn't matter who says you could be a dancer, as long as you're dancing and doing the stuff that goes along with it, then hey, you can work up to your goal. I'm not saying it depends on what you put into it. And
right.
that's what
I mean, obviously you got to put something into it in order to become, I guess you could say, some level of good.
Yeah.
At it somehow.
Yeah.
Whatever. And of course, now these days, dance have sort of changed a little bit more than what it was back in the day, but pretty much the principles are the same. That part doesn't change or hasn't. So definitely if you have raw ability, like when I was doing it and I knew, well, I still do it now, but I'm just thinking back of the beginnings. When you would go in and you're attempting to get in like a jazz class or ballet class. So athletically, you have it, but you don't know the technique. So then you get in and you learn the technique, or you mimic the technique until you learn it. And everything's starting to broaden a lot. Things start to broaden a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said something about your acting teacher when we last spoke. And it really, I like it when people hear about, when people tell me about how they were taught, because it's just interesting. So can you share with everybody what your acting teacher imparted to you?
So the teacher would, so he said one day, I'm cut to the chase. He said one day, we're in class, many actors do not like to deal with Shakespeare, that type of dialect, because they see it as, or feel it as, a foreign language. And, so I was like, hey, I like foreign languages, maybe I'll give it a shot. And he was looking at me like, really? You're going to give this a shot? I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. It's a foreign language. Okay, cool. I'll try it, And in my mind, I'm like, well, I got a little Japanese, a little Thai, I got a little Espanol, yeah, I could do this. And so he was the instructor that pretty much introduced me to some of the Shakespeare dialect, which I would, as I was going along and learning this monologue that he gave me, which was like 4 pages deep.
Wow.
I would ask him different questions, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Because it's pretty much like you're reading, in one sense, it's pretty much like you're reading, biblical language in a way.
Well, no, it's not in a way. That William Shakespeare actually wrote the King James Bible, just so you know.
Yes.
Just so you know.
So and of course, he said, let me know when you have it together. So I would practice at home. And at that time, we had a dog and a cat. So the dog and the cat were my audience. And, I would practice at home. And once I mess up, the dog would and walk away. And the cat would just be like, that look, so I was like, oh man, okay, I'll try it again. And so once I got it together, he said, I walk into class one day, and he and I would talk on the phone, before class or something. I came in, he said, class, have a surprise for you. This gentleman's going to get up and give the 4-page monologue, So, yeah, I did it. It was a little rough, but I accomplished it. So, and that monologue still sticks in my head right now today.
And what is that monologue?
It is a scene, Brutus Cassius.
Ah.
I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favor. Well, honor is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be as lived to be in such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar, so were you. We both have fed as well, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. And I'm saying to him, what the heck are they talking about? So that whole monologue,
yeah.
In the end, basically he is saying, Brutus is saying to Cassius, hey, let's get rid of this dude. And we go in, and now we get the money and all the gold and everything.
Wow.
We run the show.
Wow. That's like gangster shit right there.
It is. Yeah. Why do you think Caesar got stabbed all up and everything?
Yeah.
It's gangster stuff. So here's the hook I want to tell you. So when I went in to do this, I did it like something out of the 70s with afros and dashikis. So he gave me a B for the project, but he wanted togas. Wow. He wanted togas and all of that kind of stuff. But I realized it's the same language, the gangster stuff. It's the same exact thing. Just in a different dialect language, So he was like, I'll give you an A for creativity. But he wanted me to stick strictly to, the format. But yeah, so it sticks with me right now today,
Wow. That, and with that, you can't finish with anything other than Shakespeare. You just can't. So we're going to end this right now.
Okay.
and I would love to have you back when we can actually have lunch together.
Oh, that too. Oh, it's one other thing I want to say to you real quick. I forget. So with the situation, it's bigger than a situation. with the worldwide thing of COVID-19
Yes.
and the mask. When I first went to Japan in 1990, I
They
said
had
to the Japanese friend, I'm at the airport, I get in this car, we're leaving. I say, you know, what's up with the mask? And he said, people wear the mask when they have a cold and sometimes they have allergies, but it's pretty much so they don't spread the germs.
Mm.
So after I've been there a while, when I would get a cold, I would put a mask on.
Oh, wow.
So no big deal.
It isn't. You know, I got yelled at yesterday for not wearing my mask. Okay, so I didn't get yelled at, but I was at a bar and I was drinking a drink, but they want you to put your mask on every time you put a drink, you know, like, so you take a drink, you put the mask on, you take it off, you take the drink, and it's the whole thing. And it was a decent Bloody Mary. I really enjoyed the Bloody Mary, but the ambiance just didn't do it for me because I just couldn't get into it. It's I know we have to adjust for what's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah. So just think of drinking your Bloody Mary through a crazy straw, you know, through the side of your mask, you know.
oh my God. Okay. Okay. And with that, I'm gonna wow. With that, you guys, thanks for joining us for Monday Lunch with Dog Funny, episode 7 with Russell Hines. And no worries. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.